And I do want to get the contract attorney information and the Blum records a little sooner, but I do appreciate that. And I'm sorry that attorneys and town managers put you guys on the front lines of this, but I will promise to be kind and fair. And if you ever think I'm not fair in my reporting, I want you to contact me. You both have my personal cell phone number. You can do it off business records, hours, and everything else, okay? Okay, bye, you guys. I'm going to go chase some attorneys. I'd way rather record attorneys than you guys. Bye.
This is Susan Bassi. In this video, we return to our reporting on a controversial Los Gatos resident and our investigation into the cost of her free speech. For nearly 3 decades, Lindley Hogan has been battling the town of Los Gatos in connection with her personal divorce case. Public records show Los Gatos police repeatedly removed Ms. Hogan's flyers posted to alert the public about the local family courts, and town staff repeatedly subjected her to code enforcement proceedings when she attempted to operate a short-term rental business to support her family, a business where she called herself the Lavender Lady. We have been requesting records in this case for over 4 years. The town has repeatedly delayed and concealed these records under the management and supervision of the town's attorney, Gabrielle Whalen. Our reporting on an August 2025 code enforcement hearing over Ms. Hogan's political signs saw the appointment of Jeff Blum, a divorce attorney and private judge we found not paying his business license fees or following the town's codes and rules as he sat in judgment of others. Mr. Blum was removed from the case and didn't want to give us any comment about what our investigation had found. Our reporting found other misconduct of Mr. Blum, who was removed from the proceedings. Then, 3 days before this hearing, we received notice of new proceedings being held in a closed public library where we were instructed to go around the back and knock to be let in, as we also were informed that the proceedings were open to the public.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Want me to guide you in?
Sure. I had to get a video of what it looks like to go through the back side door of a code enforcement hearing.
Okay. It's just that the library is not open at this time.
What time? Does it open at 10?
10, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Here you go. Come on back.
Walking in through the back door of the closed public library to a code enforcement hearing, I recognized that one of the gentlemen waiting outside the door had been the code enforcement officer who had testified as a witness in the previous case and given me notice of this hearing. I couldn't help but feel that it was set up and very staged, that they were mindful that I might appear. And every code enforcement hearing or family court case should be conducted as if the press might always show up, because far too often members of the public and press aren't available to attend these proceedings.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Kind of scary before. Like I never know what to expect.
At the outset of this new code enforcement hearing, I was handed a packet of exhibits with a sticky note with my name on it. These were exhibits that I had a great deal of difficulty obtaining when Mr. Blum was overseeing the proceedings. I also noticed that the contract attorney arrived late, claiming that he had been stuck in traffic. In Los Gatos, there would be no reason to be stuck in traffic, but this contract attorney, Lance Bear, happens to work in or reside in San Francisco and commuted to this code enforcement hearing. And now the issue remains, are taxpayers paying for his commute as well?
Yeah, I gave Susan one, and I gave Sean one.
Okay.
And where do you want to sit?
Lance Bear, as the attorney, afforded the authority to guide these proceedings. At the last proceeding presided over by Mr. Blum, he brought to Mr. Blum's attention the fact that I was recording the proceedings, as if trying to get me in trouble or prevented from doing so, knowing that the town was already recording the same proceeding. Everything was perfectly set to appear fair, but we knew there was certain evidence that needed to be presented about what had happened with Mr. Blum and why that had tainted this entire code enforcement proceeding that had been going on for over a year. A proceeding where 2 complaints led to Ms. Hogan being forced to address the issue of the size of her political signs.
A limit on the number of yard signs.
Correct.
Under the temporary signs.
So it would appear to be unlimited at this point.
Yeah, the code does not provide a limit.
So does there appear to be an ample opportunity for signage to be placed on private property in residential zone in the town of Los Gatos?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
As a contract attorney with the town of Los Gatos, Mr. Bear was very careful to enter into evidence information that would make it appear as if Ms. Hogan had been afforded due process, information that would prove that the proceeding was not selective and that her political speech was not being targeted.
I'm willing to do, I will,
That means taking down the banner.
so I'll take down the banners, but I get one banner as long as it's 2x3, correct? One banner on my fence.
Yes.
One banner on my fence, as long as it's 2x3, and then my signs on the ground that are 2x3.
Yard signs.
Yard signs.
Or 6 square feet. It could be
Yeah.
any dimension.
Be
6
1 by
square
6.
feet. Yeah.
And is this all going to be done when we identify the deadline, or just going to try to do it as soon as possible so we can close this out?
Well, I'll definitely have it done by the deadline.
After years of town staff and attorneys threatening Miss Hogan with fines and fees related to her political signs, she simply agreed to comply with the code the first time she was reasonably asked. But Mr. Lance Bear appeared to act more like a divorce attorney, trying to incite and maintain the litigation and the cost to taxpayers.
We want to keep all of these documents together that are exhibits.
After Ms. Hogan had left, I decided to express my views and opinions about the proceeding in both my professional and personal capacity as a Los Gatos resident. Were you previously on the board for the Los Gatos Public Media?
No.
Oh, you weren't. Is this a new hearing officer?
Yes.
In
So-
this case, I've been doing it for several years.
I'm sorry, then I didn't get your name because
Tam McCarty. Tam McCarty.
Okay. And are you an attorney?
No, I worked for the town for 32 years, and I retired in '09.
Okay. I was just curious, with this proceeding, Mr. Blum was removed and this proceeding started all over again. And you and I are having some communications about that. I am concerned. I have seen the communications Mr. Blum had with Ms. Hogan. There is pretty clear evidence of competence here and some other issues. And Mr. Blum sits on the town's senior and mental health committee. And the conversations and the emails that I have seen are highly inappropriate. And you two are licensed attorneys. And all of that information about what Mr. Blum did before and after that proceeding was completely omitted. And there is a Business and Professions Code 6068 about attorneys making material omissions from a tribunal. And I believe that appeared to be the case today. Eating all of that issue is relevant. And so when she's talking about the bias, I'm going to be sending you, Ms. Whalen, the Comar report and the county's response to that, which came out at the beginning of her divorce case. And the way the town treated her was consistent with some of the issues going on related to the local town and the family court. So I believe that failing to address the issues in the previous code enforcement hearing, throwing in the same evidence and just picking up and rolling, and omitting what Mr. Blum had done to Ms. Hogan and the communications he had while the town's lawsuit was pending is problematic. And I'm going to be very vocal, and I'm going to include that in my reporting. So if you guys...
Let me just add, I
Sure.
purposely was brought in the dark. In fact, I didn't even get the case till I sat down at this table. I have no knowledge, so there's no bias at all. When I started hearing the evidence, it was all new to me. I have no knowledge of the previous hearing.
And I appreciate that. And I understood that. And I thought I caught that at the beginning of the meeting. Yesterday, I was noticed that a different individual would be the code enforcement hearing officer. So somehow that switch happened at the last minute from when I was notified of this hearing.
I was asked, I don't remember how long ago, but quite a while ago.
Well, then that was deceptive too, because the town told me that there would be another attorney presiding over these proceedings, and he was the former mayor of Mont Sereno and on the board of KCAT. And I've researched the 990 forms from the IRS and about that.
Mr. Schultz, who was one of my favorite teachers for my kids at Los Gatos, was on that board. I have tremendous respect for KCAP. My magazine promoted that nonprofit and did a fundraiser for it when they had previous individuals there. I'm very familiar with that. So, Ms. Whalen, that's a problem. We're switching up. You gave him notice a long time ago about this hearing, but that was not what was communicated to me. The whole thing is deceptive.
Got a craving you can't shake for sizzling, juicy, mouth goes ah. Flavor only Taco Time can deliver? Grab your all-new grilled steak burrito and quesadilla for a limited
about this hearing, but that was not what was communicated to me. The whole thing is deceptive.
Throughout these proceedings, Ms. Whalen made nearly $400,000 a year in pay and benefits.
And the town is funding the defense against her lawsuits.
Well, just to clarify, it wasn't so much a specific be here on this date. It was, could you keep it open? We're not sure. And I kept it open.
Okay, well, you kept it open, but Friday I was notified it would be a different person, and that wasn't changed yesterday when I had communications with the code enforcement officer. So what I'm saying to you is, since you're not an attorney, there is something in the law called Business and Professions Code 6068 that says attorneys have an obligation to be truthful, to not make omissions to tribunals, whether it's a judge, a hearing officer, or anything else. And these two attorneys allowed this proceeding to happen without inserting any of the conduct of the previous hearing officer.
We hear what you're saying. I don't agree with you, but I hear what you're saying. This is what's called a hearing de novo, which means it's new. And so what happened at the previous hearing in terms of how it was handled or anything else has no relevance to this hearing. So we disagree with you on your assessment of that because this is a hearing de novo with a new hearing officer.
It's the same actors. Ms. Whalen is the town attorney.
I understand
And
what
so
you're saying.
you two are attorneys that have knowledge of this. You omitted it from this hearing. There is an appearance that she is not getting fair proceedings. And I know her politics are not popular. There's definitely some competence issues. We could see that. I cover court proceedings all day long. And you, sir, I will remind you, I came into the last proceeding late, and you made a big deal about me recording when you had already started recording the proceedings. The First Amendment does not allow the government to one-way record us. And you as a licensed attorney better start understanding the First Amendment a little bit more.
I hear what you're saying. Thank you very much.
I'm going to be bringing my complaints about both of you on what I believe to be a Business and Professions Code 6068 violation. And by the way, that's a crime. So make sure that you understand that, Ms. Whalen, because while this proceeding appeared perfectly fine and you had a neutral, unbiased individual hearing the proceeding that had never heard it, you omitted the material facts about what had happened to Ms. Hogan between these proceedings, which you were discussing in this proceeding. And he had a right to hear that and have that put into evidence, especially when Ms. Hogan was making allegations of bias.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Mr. Bear, do you have contracts with other towns or just Los Gatos?
I have contracts with other towns.
What towns are those?
I don't need to tell you at this point. I have things to do.
Well, I'm going to be doing a records request for how much our government is paying you to do these code enforcement hearings, and I am going to be pursuing the 6068 issues with you because I believe you made material omissions to a tribunal today.
These glasses destroyed a multi-billion-dollar industry. Nobody believed me at first, but now everyone wants a pair. My friends laughed when I bought